Welcome to the Pixelberry Choices podcast. Today we're going to be doing something really interesting. We're going to be breaking down the character of Everett Rourke from the Endless Summer book, which is perhaps the best mystery book and adventure book in Choices by far as a trilogy. Everett Rourke, this character, we meet not at the start of the book, but we go to this island, La Huerta. So we actually won some tickets in our college alongside with some of our friends. And there's something happens when we're going over to La Huerta. Then our plane crashes. Then one after the other, really weird incidents start to take place. And we go to the Celestial, and the Celestial and everything is owned by Everett Rourke. We knew that much, and we also knew that something was really strange about it. And also, our tour guide Leela, who is also a Rourke fan, or like he's the tour guide and she's the tour guide and she works for Rourke, and she is literally, like one of the Rourkes. So that much we knew. So we never trusted Leela that much from the beginning with details of our search when we're trying to find our way out from that island. Because Rourke, as one of our friends says, is the hummingbird who just hums Rourke's name. So she just sings Rourke's praises. So she can't be trusted around this. But if you collect enough clues with dimensions, then you get in book one, at the end of every act, one bonus scene, and there you first meet Rourke. Like he looks like a businessman, all suited up and on the sea, talking with his wife about something big's going to happen, something's going to blow up, about the guests there, and that's what you see little by little. And as the book one progresses, when you meet all those where Varian is from, those islanders, those blue creatures, you also get to know that even though you don't know much about Rourke, but Alistair, who you thought was genuinely your friend, he's not. He's actually Rourke's own son, and that was a big shocker we learned. But we don't learn much about Rourke in book one. And at the end of book one, we're given a puzzle sort of, and we need to solve that. And if we do solve that, we will get Rourke, who is sort of was preserving his body and was unconscious all that time. And it was quite interesting if you solve that. And in book two, we will meet Rourke. At first, you'll think that he's going to help us, but we'll know he will always trick us. And then slowly we learn Rourke's motives, and we learn that they're never going to be really easy for us, or he's not going to make things easy for us. And the Islanders, they are the people we need to protect, but Rourke wants to hurt them and hurt everyone, and his end goal is massive. And as the book 2 progresses, we build a relationship of an animosity with Rourke, because Rourke even wants to open us up and put us into some weird kind of glasses to experiment on us and kill all of our friends. And he just basically wants to reach his goal, and he wants island's heart that we at one point used, not the whole island's heart but half of it, to cure Queen, who was suffering through a disease and was almost killed by that. And then slowly develops, we also learn about the big betrayal that Leela, who we knew who worked for Rourke, but we didn't know he's the one who actually killed Estilla's mom. And we also learned that how Rourke took Leela under his wings when Leela didn't have much, and she lost at a very small age her parents in an accident. And Rourke sort of, made her take the guilt trip that you're going to work for me. In return, I'll I will do whatever it takes for you to live a genuinely good life. And Rourke basically trained Leela with his own ideals and everything, idealism basically. And we learn everything, but eventually we see Leela runs to Rourke and helps him till the end. But when Rourke even tried to kill all of us except Alistair and Grace, who Alistair liked very much, except them, Rourke ordered to kill all of us, but Leela risks her life, dies in the process, and saves us. So that was a really interesting plot. But Rourke's shenanigans and his end goal continues. So here starts Rourke's manipulation. First, he manipulates, like he manipulated Leela, he starts manipulating his son Alistair. That Alistair and Grace will be together, and Rourke will bring Alistair's mom. Because you also learn Iris, there was a hologram that is actually Alistair's mother, and she died. So Rourke is doing everything to bring Alistair's mom back. And so Rourke again starts making false promises that he will bring Alistair's mom back, his wife back, but we need to complete the project. But and that would make Alistair our enemy for that matter, and Alistair will be working against us. And then we will sort of fight it back and forth, and we will go to book 3. And by then we will also learn the mystery with the Endless, that our main character is the Endless, who have seen lots of multiple ending, and our whole crew got killed various times, but he was alive, and who is trying to change the fortune so that everyone gets out alive and gets what they want. So this was really interesting revelation there. And about Rourke, we still continue, and we see Jake's old enemies also pairing up with Rourke, and massive fights here and there. But Rourke, till the end, he sticks up with what was his idealism, that he wants to rule the world. At one point, we take one diamond scene, we go to the space, and we see Rourke's name there. So still, I was really angry that even if we kill Rourke, Rourke will be gone, but his name will be forever here on the space, and that made her so angry, and rightfully so. Basically, Rourke wanted to rule over the world, and Rourke didn't like how the world functioned, and he wanted to change it, and he wanted to become the one to change it. And he wanted a world where there'll be no deaths, there'll be no nothing. He will control everything, and there won't be any misery, and everyone will be back to normal, and it will be controlled by him, and whoever will go against him, he will punish them. So that's the sort of world he wanted to build. But he manipulates Alistair till the end. But by the end of book 3, Alistair, who is Rourke's son, we sort of pursue him to make him see that Rourke is the bad one here. Rourke is not going to fulfill any of his wishes, any of his promises, but they are just false promises. And after the big revelation about Alistair, that Rourke is not the biological father of Alistair, but Alistair is sort of, in a way, is an artificial human being, if that makes sense. And that really pissed Alistair off, and all the lies about Iris and Alistair's mother, that literally made at that point Rourke seem like an obnoxious character who can do even anything for the sake of his project, for the sake of the future he wants to build. Even he can betray his own family. So we see this sort of a diamond scene. Like in the book 3, we see the future glimpse of all the characters. So there we see Alistair holding Alistair and Grace's baby in his hand, and saying that he will give him the kind of parent attention that he never got, and the life a childhood that Alistair never got from Rourke. So that we can all confirm that Rourke was too busy with his idealism, that he never treated his family the way he should have, and he never took care of Alistair, and Alistair always wanted to prove him to be that he's like his dad or even better. So that was one of his points. So he never loved Alistair as a son, but as a mean to fulfill his own means, or his own for to use him for his own benefits. Like he didn't have any genuine feelings. Just Just he used them everything to help his own end goal in terms of his own project or own future that he always dreamt of. Rourke definitely talks about getting the power from La Huerta and using it for greater good of humanity. Like he says, he can cure any disease. There will be at one point he says he dreams of a world where there will be no disease, nothing, no crying. It will be all sunshine and rainbows. But that can never exist, can it? I mean, not without a big cost to pay for. So definitely Rourke was giving false promises all along, and we go up against Rourke, we corner him, we defeat his minions, and there were lots of sacrifices, including Jake's friend Mike and others. But by the end, we cornered Rourke. But what we learn by the ending, depending on what ending the reader chooses here, there are different endings. So one ending we can return to Vanu, or the second ending we can stay at the island. That way Rourke will always be forever be gone. And the third ending that we give everything, the whole island's heart to Rourke, the power of Vanu to Rourke. So Rourke, takes everything back to normal. But he's the one. But in this case, I mean, the whole book three books plot was like to sort of eliminate Rourke's threat. But if we go with Rourke's plan, then basically Rourke will be the ruler, will be the king, will be the emperor. That's what he wanted. He wanted to be the emperor Everett Rourke, and that's what he will be. He will be ruling over the whole world with his minions, and he'll be torturing these Varian and his all these Vanu Islands natives, and Jake's life and Mike's lives. They will be alive. Mike will be alive, but they will be held captive, and that would be a really bad ending. So by the end, I think Rourke's character, it was really hard as how he was made. He always talked about idealism, but in that idealism, it was fair and good for everyone, but it was not that good, was it? Because ultimately, he wanted to rule over everyone. He wanted to be the emperor, king. So if you dream about something that big, what would you imagine yourself at the top? So he was definitely power hungry and a greedy person who wanted to use technologies and all of those sort of things to change the course of humanity, to change the outcomes he didn't like, and to make the outcomes he wanted, to make the world by his by the way he liked, so to speak. And that's not how it is. And I chose to stay on the island, so that ending sort of made sense and it was good. But Rourke's character definitely one of the interesting antagonist characters, and it was really nice taking him down by choosing to stay on the island with her friends, and Rourke couldn't do anything. Rourke's dream was not successful, and Rourke was defeated. Even if you return to Vanu, even then Rourke is defeated, and that's the moral of it. That was it about Rourke's character analysis. Rourke's character is definitely at various points it's complex, but one thing we may mistake his cunningness, his intent to only do good by himself, as he's thinking about the humanity, or he is going to do good by others, and it was, you can say, he was cunning and he only thought about himself. But we'll never know what was his true intents, because if we even choose Rourke's ending, we don't know how he ends up, even if he gets taken down or not, and what happens to him. But if you don't choose Rourke's ending, he's ready to just rot in prison and or to die just for another ending that he deserves, because he is definitely in the context of this book a great threat to the humanity, the nature, the world. It is what it is. We may not like some incidents, but we cannot shape every incident the way we want it, because there's always an opposite thing that will occur, that will pop up because of our single reaction. If we change one thing, the other thing will happen, and we cannot truly rule the world or make it the way we like it, because the universe is, well, the universe. And it is what it is, the nature. We can't really manipulate it. So, both the ending going back with the Vanu or staying on the island, they would have made perfect sense. And that's about Rourke. I hope you liked it. Let me know in the comments below. How did you feel about it? And take care, stay safe. I'll see you in the next video. Till then, peace out.